What if the chaos of the world was not a force to be fought, but a kingdom to be ruled? What if your mind was a throne, and from a place of perfect stillness, you could command any storm? The greatest kings rule not by shouting, but by the unshakable power of their inner peace. Master your inner storms like a king, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lessons 1. Stillness is your greatest weapon. Imagine a wise king seated upon his throne in the heart of his great castle. Outside the thick stone walls, a violent storm rages across the land. The wind howls, messengers bring panicked reports of turmoil in the provinces, and the very air crackles with chaos and uncertainty. The novice ruler would be on his feet, pacing frantically, shouting orders, his own inner state a perfect, fearful reflection of the storm outside. But the wise king sits unmoved. His posture is one of deep, powerful stillness. From the serene command center of his throne, he listens to the reports, observes the storm, and makes his decisions not from a place of reaction, but from a place of profound inner calm. His stillness is not passivity. It is his most powerful weapon. This is the inner state we must seek, yet we face a deep internal conflict. We believe we are the rulers of our own lives, yet we feel more like servants to our circumstances. We are constantly pulled from our throne by every crisis, every demand, every urgent email. The problem statement is this: we have been conditioned to believe that our inner state must match the energy of the external world. If the world is chaotic, we believe we must be internally chaotic to deal with it. We mistake frantic energy for effective action. This leaves us feeling perpetually exhausted, reactive, and powerless. We are kings who have abandoned our throne room to run around the castle battlements, screaming at the wind. We have forgotten that all true power, all true clarity, radiates outward from a center of absolute stillness. The transformative solution is to reclaim your throne. You must understand and embrace the Stoic truth that your greatest weapon in the face of any storm is a cultivated, unshakable inner stillness. The core idea is that you cannot control the weather in your kingdom, but you have absolute dominion over the climate in your throne room, your own mind. From this place of calm, you can assess threats clearly, deploy your resources wisely, and lead with a presence that inspires confidence rather than spreading panic. Stillness is the ultimate position of command. This ancient wisdom is the bedrock of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics taught that the sage, the ideal wise person, is like a rocky promontory against which the waves crash relentlessly. The promontory remains unmoved. Marcus Aurelius found his stillness not in a peaceful palace, but in a cold tent on the war-torn frontier. He knew that to rule an empire at war, he first had to rule the empire of his own mind. To begin this practice, you must schedule a daily ritual called ascending the throne. For 10 minutes each day, you will sit in a chair that you designate as your throne. Sit upright in a dignified posture. Close your eyes, and for the first few minutes, simply observe the storm of your thoughts without getting swept up in them. Imagine them as panicked messengers arriving at your throne room. Your job is not to argue with them, but to listen with a calm, royal detachment. After observing, spend the next few minutes focusing on the sensation of your own quiet, steady presence in the chair. Feel the solidness of the throne beneath you. This is your anchor of stillness. The profound benefit of this daily practice is that you will begin to build a powerful inner core of calm that becomes your default state. You will find that the chaotic events of the day have less power to disturb you, because you know you have a throne of stillness to return to. You are building your inner citadel, a source of unshakable confidence and clarity. You are learning to rule from a place of peace. This is the first and most critical step in mastering your inner storms. Once the king is secure on his throne of stillness, his first duty is to bring order not to the world, but to his own palace. In our next lesson, we will learn how to control the chaos within first. If you are ready to reclaim your throne, declare it in the comments below. I will ascend my throne. Your commitment to this practice strengthens the resolve of our entire community. Please subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel to continue your royal training. Lessons 2. Control the chaos within. First, imagine a king who wishes to project an image of power and order to the world. He stands on his balcony, dressed in fine robes, preparing to address the masses. But behind him, within the very walls of his own palace, a riot is raging. His advisors are screaming at each other. His servants are running in panic, and his personal guards have abandoned their posts to join the chaos. No matter how regal he tries to appear, the shouts and crashes from within his own house betray him. His proclamations of order are rendered meaningless by the pandemonium at his back. He cannot rule the kingdom because he has not yet learned to rule his own court. This is a powerful metaphor for a common inner conflict. We want to be masters of our lives, to face the world with confidence and poise. We want to control our destiny. The problem statement is that we often try to control external events before we have established any control over our own internal state. We try to manage a difficult project at work while our mind is a riot of anxiety and self-doubt. We try to have a calm conversation with our partner while our inner court is in an uproar of resentment and anger. We are the king trying to address the world from a foundation of chaos. This is why our efforts so often fail. We lack integrity in the truest sense of the word. Our inner and outer selves are not integrated. We are projecting a false image of control that is easily shattered by the slightest pressure, revealing the riot within. The transformative solution is to adopt the king's first principle. Control the chaos within first. Before you try to manage any external storm, you must first establish order within the palace of your own mind. The core idea is that the outer world is often a reflection of your inner world. A mind that is chaotic, undisciplined, and full of internal conflict will perceive and create chaos wherever it goes. A mind that is orderly, disciplined, and at peace with itself will bring a sense of order and peace to any situation it encounters. The ultimate power is self-mastery, for when you can reliably control your own inner state, the external world has infinitely less power to control you. This wisdom is the very essence of the Stoic path. The Stoics taught that the only thing truly under our command is our own mind, our judgments, our intentions, our will. They called this our inner citadel. Their primary work was not to change the world, but to perfect the governance of this inner kingdom, knowing that a well-ruled mind can handle any external reality with grace and strength. To begin the practice of quelling your inner riot, you must become the captain of the guard for your own mind. For the next week, your task is to identify your primary rioter, the one negative emotional or mental state that causes the most chaos. For many, this is anxiety, anger, or self-criticism. Choose one. For 7 days, you will make it your mission to intercept this rioter at the first sign of trouble. You will use a technique called acknowledge and address. When you feel the familiar surge of your chosen rioter, the anxiety rising, the anger flashing, you will pause. You will acknowledge it like a captain spotting a troublemaker. I see you, anxiety. Then, you will address it with a pre-planned rational command. This command should be a short, powerful truth, such as, "This feeling is a product of my thoughts, not of reality. I am in control here." You are not fighting the emotion, you are asserting your authority over it. You are reminding the rioter who is in charge of the palace. The profound benefit of this daily practice is that you will begin to dismantle the habitual power of your most destructive inner states. You are systematically training your mind to look to you, your rational self, for leadership, rather than being swept up in the mob mentality of your emotions. Your inner palace will become a calmer, more orderly place, which will give you a solid foundation of incredible strength from which to face the world. You are learning that true kingship is an inside job. Once the king's palace is in order, he can turn his attention to the powerful forces he must command. In our next lesson, we will learn how to make our emotions obey the inner throne. If you are ready to establish order within, declare it in the comments. I will control my inner court. Your commitment to self-governance inspires our entire community to rule wisely. Please subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel and continue your training. Lessons 3. Emotions. Obey the inner throne. Imagine a great king who keeps a powerful and magnificent lion within his palace grounds. The lion is the embodiment of raw, primal energy, of strength, of aggression, of passion. It is a beautiful and awe-inspiring creature, but it is also inherently dangerous. A foolish king would either keep the lion permanently locked in a cage where its spirit would wither and its strength would atrophy, or he would let it roam free, where it would inevitably terrorize the court and cause destruction. The wise king, however, does neither. He respects the lion's power. He studies its nature. He trains it with a firm and patient hand, not to break its spirit, but to bring it under his command. The lion still possesses all its terrifying strength, but now that strength serves the king's will. The lion has learned to obey the throne. That lion is your emotions. This metaphor highlights a deep inner conflict in our relationship with our feelings. We are often terrified of our own most powerful emotions, especially anger, grief, and fear. The problem statement is this: because we fear the power of our emotions, we try to cage them. We suppress them, we deny them, we tell ourselves we shouldn't feel them. This caging of the lion, however, is a failing strategy. The suppressed energy does not disappear. It festers. It builds pressure until it eventually explodes in a destructive, uncontrollable rage or a debilitating bout of anxiety. We have not mastered the lion. We have only created a more dangerous and unpredictable beast. The transformative solution is to become the wise king and trainer of your own emotions. You must release the lion from its cage, but you must also take up the reins of command. The core idea is that your emotions are not your enemies. They are powerful, energetic messengers. Anger signals a boundary has been crossed. Fear signals a potential threat. Sadness signals a loss. Your job as the king is not to kill the messenger, but to hear its message, and then, from the calm authority of your throne, to decide what action to take. You must make your emotions your subjects, not your masters. This is the Stoic art of emotional regulation. The Stoics did not advocate for a life without passion. They advocated for a life where passion is subordinate to reason. Reason must always occupy the throne. An emotion can be a powerful advisor. It can be a source of immense energy, but it must never be allowed to wear the crown. When you establish this inner hierarchy, your emotions become incredible assets. The energy of anger, guided by reason, becomes the fuel for justice. The energy of fear, guided by reason, becomes the source of prudent caution and preparation. To begin this practice of emotional command, you will use a technique called the royal audience. The next time you feel a powerful emotion begin to surge, you will not try to suppress it. Instead, you will grant it an audience. You will pause and in your mind's eye invite the lion of your emotion to stand before your throne of reason. You will then, as the king, address it with 3 questions. First, what is your name? You will name the emotion specifically. You are anger, or you are fear. This act of naming separates you from it. Second, what is the message you bring? You will listen with detached curiosity. What event or thought triggered this emotion? What is it trying to tell you? Third, and most importantly, thank you for your counsel. I will take it under advisement. Now you are dismissed. This is a powerful act of command. You are acknowledging the emotion's message, but you are making it clear that you, the king on the throne of reason, will be the one to make the final decision. You are not banishing the lion. You are sending it back to its proper place, while you decide how to act. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will cease to be afraid of your own feelings. You will develop a relationship with them based on mastery, not fear. Your emotional life will become richer as you allow yourself to feel without being swept away. And your actions will become wiser, as they will be dictated by your rational mind, not by the roar of the untamed lion. You are learning to rule the most powerful beast in your kingdom. A king who has mastered his emotions can now act with a new kind of power, a power that begins not in a shout, but in a quiet decision. In our next lesson, we will explore how true power begins in silent resolve. If you're ready to master the lion within, declare it in the comments. Reason sits on my throne. Your declaration of command helps us all to rule wisely. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion for more lessons in self-mastery. Lessons 4. Power begins in silent resolve. Imagine a king who needs to make a decision of immense consequence for his entire kingdom. A foolish king would assemble a great noisy council, letting the loudest and most passionate voices sway his judgment. He would react to the fears of one advisor and the ambitions of another, his own mind a chaotic reflection of the room. The wise king, however, understands that true power begins in silence. He dismisses his counsel. He retreats to a quiet, private chamber. He sits alone, in stillness, and consults the one advisor he can truly trust, his own clear, rational mind. It is here, in the silent crucible of his own resolve, that the truly powerful decision is forged. The public announcement, the royal decree, that is merely the echo of a battle already won in the quiet of his own soul. This highlights a critical inner conflict in our pursuit of power and effectiveness. We have been taught that power is an external force, something demonstrated through loud words, bold actions, and commanding performances. The problem statement is that by focusing on the outward performance of power, we neglect the inner source of it. We try to persuade others before we have persuaded ourselves. We try to command situations before we have achieved command of our own will. We are the king making a speech written by a committee of his own conflicting impulses. This is why our actions so often feel hollow, why our words lack true weight, and why our power crumbles under the first sign of real pressure. We have built a facade, not a foundation. The transformative solution is to understand that all external power begins in silent, internal resolve. Before you can command any situation, you must first achieve a state of absolute, unified command over yourself. The core idea is that a decision made from a place of quiet, internal certainty has an incredible gravitational force. This is your silent resolve. It is a decision that has been stripped of all internal conflict, all doubt, all fear. When you act from this place, your actions have a weight and an integrity that cannot be faked. People can sense it. They feel the power of a mind that is fully aligned and at peace with its own choice. This is the Stoic understanding of the will. The Stoics believed that a will unified by reason is the most powerful force in the universe available to a human being. It is an inner alignment that makes a person unshakable. When you have achieved this silent resolve, you are no longer hoping for a particular outcome. You are embodying the principles that will lead to the best possible outcome. You act not from a place of neediness, but from a place of centered strength. To begin this practice, you must learn to forge your resolve in silence before you announce it to the world. For the next week, for any important decision you have to make, you will practice the silent resolve technique. You will not discuss the decision with anyone or seek any external opinions until you have first come to a place of inner clarity yourself. You will retreat to your quiet chamber for at least 15 minutes. During this time, you will examine the decision from all angles. You will consult your core values. You will assess the long-term consequences. You will sit with the decision until all the inner arguments have gone quiet, and you feel a sense of calm, clear resolve. It is a feeling of, this is the way. Only after you have forged this silent resolve are you permitted to act or speak. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will begin to trust yourself on a much deeper level. Your decisions will be wiser and more courageous because they will be truly your own, born from your deepest wisdom, rather than the noisy influence of others. You will project an aura of authentic, quiet authority. People will stop arguing with you as much because they will sense that your decisions are not impulsive, but are rooted in a deep and solid resolve. You are learning that the most powerful decrees are not those that are shouted, but those that are issued from the silent throne room of a resolved mind. This silent resolve is the foundation for wise action. Now we must learn how to bring this resolve into the heat of battle, into the heart of life's storms. In our next lesson, we will learn how to respond, not react to storms. If you are ready to forge your silent resolve, declare it in the comments. My power begins in quiet. Your commitment to this inner work resonates deeply with our community. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue this journey. Lessons 5. Respond, don't react to storms. Imagine a master strategist king on a battlefield. His army is suddenly charged by a wave of enemy cavalry. This is the storm. A reactive king, driven by his immediate fear and anger, would simply order his front line to charge back, meeting force with brute force in a chaotic and bloody scrum. A responsive king, however, has trained for this. He feels the surge of adrenaline, but he is not commanded by it. He sees the charge not as an attack to be met, but as a pattern to be exploited. In the crucial pause that his discipline has earned him, he gives a different command. He orders his front line to part, to open a channel. The enemy cavalry, expecting resistance, thunders into the trap. The king's forces then attack from the flanks, turning the enemy's own momentum and aggression into the very cause of their defeat. He did not react, he responded. This is a powerful metaphor for how we face the sudden storms of our daily lives, the unexpected criticism, the sudden setback, the provocative comment. The inner conflict is that we are conditioned to be reactors. The problem statement is that our automatic knee-jerk reactions are almost always suboptimal. They are driven by the most primitive parts of our brain, our ego, our fear, our anger. Reacting to an insult with an insult only escalates the conflict. Reacting to a failure with despair only deepens the paralysis. We are the foolish king, ordering a head-on charge every time, wasting our resources and often ensuring our own defeat. We are slaves to the storm's first move. The transformative solution is to cultivate the discipline of the strategist king. You must learn to use your inner stillness to create a space between the storm's arrival and your action, and in that space, to choose a wise response rather than an impulsive reaction. The core idea is that a reaction is a surrender of your power to the external event. A response is an assertion of your power and your values. The storm does not get to decide your action, you do. This is the difference between being a pawn in the game and being the player. This is the Stoic art of assent in its most dynamic form. The Stoics taught that we must treat all external events as impressions, that we have the power to examine before we agree with them. The initial urge to lash out is just an impression. The wise king does not immediately assent to it. He pauses, consults his reason, his inner throne, and chooses a response that serves his long-term victory, not his short-term ego. To begin your training as a strategist king, you must practice the tactical pause. For the next week, whenever you are hit by an emotional storm, your one and only goal is to create a pause before you act. You can do this by taking one single conscious breath. This is your tactical retreat to the command tent. In that breath, you will ask yourself one question: what would my highest self, my inner king, do right now? This question immediately lifts you out of the reactive scrum and onto the strategic hilltop. The answer will almost never be your first impulse. Your impulse might be to shout. Your inner king would likely stay silent and observe. Your impulse might be to defend your ego. Your inner king would likely ask a question to understand the other person's perspective. You must then take the action your inner king advises. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will begin to feel a sense of profound control over situations that used to control you. You will de-escalate conflicts, preserve relationships, and make wiser decisions under pressure. You are moving from being a pawn of your circumstances to being the strategist who can turn any situation to your advantage. You are learning to win the battle before it is even fought. Responding wisely to storms is a sign of a true king. But the ultimate test of a king is not how he acts when things are going well, but how he carries himself when his kingdom is threatened. In our next lesson, we will learn how to hold the crown in adversity. If you're ready to become the strategist, declare it in the comments. I will respond, not react. Your commitment to wise action inspires us all to be better leaders of our own lives. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 6. Hold the crown in adversity. Imagine a king whose kingdom has been struck by a great calamity, a famine, a plague, or a devastating military defeat. The people are afraid, the treasury is empty, and his advisors are in despair. The crown upon his head, once a symbol of power and glory, now feels impossibly heavy, a constant physical reminder of the crushing weight of his responsibility and failure. A weak king would be broken by this weight. He would take off the crown, retreat into self-pity, and lament his fate. A tyrant king might cling to the crown, but rule with fear and bitterness. The true Stoic king, however, does neither. He feels the full weight of the crown. He acknowledges the hardship, but he holds his head high. He understands that the crown is not just a symbol of his authority in good times, but a symbol of his duty and resolve in bad times. Holding the heavy crown steady is his ultimate act of leadership. This is a powerful metaphor for how we face deep adversity in our own lives. We all have a crown, our sense of responsibility, our values, our role as a parent, a leader, or simply as a good human being. The problem statement is that when we face severe adversity, the weight of this crown can feel unbearable. We are tempted to abdicate our responsibilities, to compromise our values, to give in to despair. We feel that the hardship gives us an excuse to be less than our best selves. We want to take off the heavy crown and just be a victim for a while. This is a deeply human urge, but it is a path that leads to the loss of self-respect and the erosion of our character. The transformative solution is to learn to hold the crown in adversity. You must see life's most difficult moments not as a reason to lower your standards, but as the most important opportunity to uphold them. The core idea is that true character is not revealed when things are easy. It is forged and displayed when things are hard. The weight of the crown is not a curse, it is a test. By choosing to bear it with dignity and resolve, you are not just enduring the adversity, you are being ennobled by it. You are proving to yourself and to the world what you are truly made of. This is the very heart of Stoic grit. The Stoics taught that external events, no matter how terrible, can never touch our inner character unless we allow them to. We always have the freedom to choose to respond with virtue. A man like Seneca, facing an unjust death sentence from the Emperor Nero, did not beg or complain. He held his crown. He spent his final hours comforting his wife and friends and discussing philosophy, meeting his fate with the same dignity with which he lived his life. He showed that even in the face of the ultimate adversity, a man can still rule his own soul. To begin this practice, you must redefine your role in hardship. For the next week, your task is to practice the royal duty mindset. Whenever you face a challenge, a pain, or a setback, you will consciously resist the victim narrative. Instead, you will ask yourself the king's question: what is my royal duty in this moment? The question itself reframes the entire situation. It is no longer about what is happening to you. It is about how you, the ruler, must act. Your duty might be to show courage for your family. It might be to maintain your integrity at work, even when it's difficult. It might simply be the duty to endure a painful moment with patience and without complaint. You are choosing to see your response as a noble obligation, not as a personal burden. The profound benefit of this practice is the cultivation of an unbreakable sense of self-respect and honor. You will discover a deep well of strength you never knew you had, because you are drawing it from your commitment to your highest self. You will find that bearing the crown of your responsibilities with dignity, especially when it is heavy, is one of the most empowering and fulfilling experiences a person can have. You are no longer defined by your hardships, but by the regal way in which you carry them. A king who can hold his crown in adversity is a king who has mastered himself. Now, he must learn to project that mastery as a source of power and inspiration. In our final lesson, we will learn how to reign with unshakable Stoic fire. If you are ready to hold your crown, declare it in the comments. I will bear the weight with honor. Your commitment to this noble duty inspires us all. Please subscribe to Stoic Dominion. Lesson 7. Reign with unshakable Stoic fire. Imagine a great hearth fire in the center of a king's throne room. It is not a raging wildfire, consuming everything in its path. It is a contained, powerful, and constant fire. It provides light in the darkness, warmth against the cold, and a central point around which the entire court can gather. The fire does not need to roar to prove its power. Its steady, radiant heat is a constant and undeniable presence. It is a symbol of life, of strength, and of the enduring heart of the kingdom. This is not the fire of reactive anger. This is the unshakable, inner fire of a Stoic king. This is the final stage of our journey, and it resolves our last inner conflict. After we have cultivated stillness, discipline, and resolve, how do we bring this power into the world? We might fear that this inner work will make us cold, passive, or detached. The problem statement is that we can mistake inner peace for a lack of energy or passion. We might become so good at controlling our inner storms that we extinguish our inner fire altogether, becoming calm but also inert and ineffective. We become the king whose throne room is quiet, but also cold and dark. The transformative solution is to understand that the ultimate goal of Stoicism is not to extinguish your fire, but to contain and direct it. You must learn to reign with an unshakable Stoic fire. The core idea is that all the inner work you have done, the stillness, the discipline, the self-control, is not meant to kill your spirit. It is meant to build the hearth, the strong stone container that allows you to cultivate a fire that is more powerful, more constant, and more useful than any chaotic wildfire could ever be. This inner fire is your passion, your ambition, your love, and your righteous anger, all refined and directed by your reason. This is the embodiment of the Stoic sage, not a cold, passionless statue, but a being of immense, controlled, and purposeful energy. The sage is the hearth fire. His presence brings warmth and light to others. His energy is not wasted on fleeting emotional reactions, but is channeled into a steady, radiant expression of his virtue and his purpose. He is a force of nature, but a force that is under the perfect command of a wise and benevolent will. To begin this final practice, you must become the keeper of your own inner fire. Your daily practice is to tend the hearth. Each morning, as part of your routine, you will take a moment to connect with your purpose, the why that fuels you. You will then consciously decide to dedicate the energy of your inner fire to that purpose for the day. You can say to yourself, today the energy of my fire will be used to create, to lead, to learn, to love with focus and intention. You are giving your fire a noble job. Then, throughout the day, whenever you feel a strong energy rising within you, be it passion, excitement, or even frustration, you will see it not as a threat to your calm, but as more fuel for your hearth. You will consciously channel that energy toward your stated purpose. The profound benefit of this practice is that you will achieve a state of dynamic and powerful equilibrium. You will be both calm and energetic, both peaceful and passionate, both still and unstoppable. You will no longer fear your own power because you will have a hearth strong enough to contain it and a purpose noble enough to direct it. Your life will become a source of warmth and inspiration to others. You are no longer just the king on the throne. You are the radiant heart of your own kingdom, reigning with the quiet, unshakable, and life-giving power of a contained and purposeful fire. From the stillness of the throne room to the radiant heat of the royal hearth, you have learned the lessons of a Stoic king. You know now that your greatest weapon is your stillness. Your greatest power is your response, and your greatest fire is the one you control within. This is how you master your inner storms. Thank you for undertaking this royal journey of self-mastery. Your commitment to ruling your inner kingdom with wisdom and strength is the highest form of leadership. If this video has ignited your inner fire, please like, comment, and subscribe to the Stoic Dominion channel to keep your hearth burning bright.